This interview is so good. The best part about it is she wrote a book about how she was stuck. So bear with it because my sound was funky and her sound doesn't match her lips because my engineer had to play with it just to get it done. I can't redo it. I wish I could. So bear with me. Listen to it till the end. It is so good. Promise. Hi, my name is Laurie McDermott. I am with thewifeexpert.com. Thank you for being here. And please, please, please hit subscribe if you're watching this on YouTube and then hit the bell icon so every time I post something new, it will come to your email. Today, I am interviewing an author. This channel will only be successful if everybody starts sharing this. My job is to help you be with your family, save your family so that your kids grow up stronger people, so that you keep your marriage together, that you and your husband can be the example of what you're going to show your kids. How do kids know how to love? How do kids know how to stay in a relationship if mom and dad aren't living proof of how that works? Please, please, please subscribe and help me grow this channel and send this out to anyone you know that might need help. Okay, her name is Maria. She's actually a friend of a friend. That's how I get these things. So if you know someone I should interview, email me. I would love to talk to them. Maria, go ahead and say your last name because I'm gonna butcher it.
Hi, I'm Maria Piantanita.
That's Italian, right?
Very much so.
So you are a friend of my friends. They were talking about this book for weeks. And I'm like, wait, hello, why can't I interview her? And they're both like, oh, yeah. I'm like, you're talking about things that my audience loves. How did you get to be a writer?
I have been a nurse for about 30 years. I never thought about writing a book. I have witnessed in all of the different settings that I've worked in, adolescents, young kids, adults, women, men, I have noticed that there is a sort of revolving door in the mental health field and how people have a natural tendency to focus on the negative, on what is wrong. When that happens, they get stuck. They get stuck in a negative mindset. They develop neural pathways that are right in their frontal lobe, ready to be pulled up. Instead of happier thoughts, they go to the negative thoughts. Those negative thoughts are just there because they constantly think about these things and they get stuck. I wanted to do something to help people get unstuck. And so that's what I did. I wrote a book about my experiences, about the experiences of the patients that I took care of. I wrote about the ways that I helped them get unstuck when I didn't even realize I was helping them. I developed a PAT method. PAT method is the past is the past, an attitude of acceptance. And I teach them tools that they can use that are their own doing. There's nothing that they have to read. There's nothing that they have to learn. They can use these things, just changing their thoughts from negative to positive.
Changing your thoughts from negative to positive. As you know, I coach a lot of women and men whose spouses have left them. You know, that's a confusing thing. So the spouse just goes one day, hey, I'm done. I'm out of here. Or she finds out they're having an affair. Yeah. And it starts to go like this. And the spouse who's left behind, there's a lot of thoughts and confusion, and then they go back and they're like, wait a minute, my husband says he never loved me, but I have proof and I remember, and it's this roller coaster wheel.
Yes, it's ruminating thoughts. The thought just keeps going round and round. And how do I get off this train? How do I develop new, more helpful thoughts? How do we help ourselves? We stop thinking about the unhelpful thoughts and we start thinking about the helpful thoughts that are more helpful, that can help us move forward and stop getting stuck in the past. And so those thoughts are, instead of, oh my God, my husband has left me. Oh my God, I'm left with nothing. Oh my God, I have to take care of my kids alone. Instead, there's another side of that. It's cognitive behavioral therapy. It's restructuring your thoughts. It's just, instead of looking at it from that one negative side, looking at it from the other side. Okay, I've solved problems in the past before. How can I solve this problem? I have resilience. It's about tapping into your resilience, picking yourself up and using that strength to move forward. How did I handle problems in the past? This is no different. This is really no different.
But everyone forgets that.
No,
and
yeah.
They're like, wait, I handled problems in the past because I could control them.
Right.
I can't control this guy leaving me after 40 years.
Right.
So let's go back. Why don't you tell us what happened in your life?
Did you have
so an experience of someone leaving you?
Okay, so yes. My experience in my marriage. After my third child, I developed postpartum depression. I didn't know I had postpartum depression, freaking hormones. I didn't know I had postpartum depression. All I knew is that I was sad. Why was I sad? I sat on the floor. I put my kids to bed and I sat there and I cried. Why am I so sad? I have a wonderful life. I have a wonderful husband. I have people that love me. I have a beautiful house. What is wrong? And that negative mindset, I just kept ruminating with those thoughts. Why am I so sad? Why am I so sad? My thoughts were not, how can I fix this? How can I get out of this? They were, oh my God, I feel this way. This is what's happening in my life. This is where I am. Instead of, well, why is this happening to me? And
So what
so
did you do?
I just realized I don't want to live like this anymore. Stop, Maria. What are you doing? This is your life. This is the only chance you get. You have 3 young children that you want to be a mother to. You don't want to be this angry person dragging them to preschool back and forth and get dressed, get your shoes on. Mommy's not happy. So I decided that I would take medication. I decided that this is not how I want it to be. There has to be something. I was a nurse. I knew about this, but trying to apply these same rules to myself, well, I've never done that before. I never had to do that before. I never had depression. I never had to do that.
So this is the first step that you took.
Yes.
Was realizing it.
Yes.
And then it was, let's get medicated. What
Let's
did you
get
do
medicated.
with that? Like
So I took medication. I took it for a little while. I felt better. I didn't do therapy. I should have done therapy as well.
What medicine did you take?
I took Zoloft.
Did it work?
Yes, it worked. It worked very well. Most of the SSRIs, which are the medications that modulate the amount of serotonin in the brain, they work very well. They work amazingly well. In fact, sometimes they work a little too well, and sometimes they cause some side effects like apathy, where, oh, I'm not sad, but I'm not real happy either. So after I played around with the dose, I finally found the dose that I could be Maria and still a good mother. But by the time I did that, my marriage was failing. Yes, and my husband wasn't happy, and I don't know that I really could blame him too much. I was miserable. I was miserable. I threw myself into my children. I had to be a good mom. That was the goal. And I pretty much neglected my husband.
So at this time, how long were you married?
We were married for 21 years, and then we got divorced. So the problem started happening probably about 5 years before that. Yeah,
So you got
like
divorced.
yes. So we ended up getting divorced. And then I just did some things that I wanted to do for myself. I had a little therapy. I decided that my life was going to be different and that the things that I've always wanted to do, I was going to do.
Like
And I did. And I just
Give me what they are.
I ran a 100-mile marathon. Yeah, I was a runner. Running seemed to be one of the few things that kept me happy. And
Forrest Gump. Sorry.
I kind of was Forrest Gump. I was the female Forrest Gump. In fact, my friends, actually, I would run such long distances that my brother-in-law would joke with me and say, well, what'd you take? 18? You know, you take 18 south, like a car. But no, I would run, I would think, but I would not think about what was wrong in my life. I would think about what was right in my life, what was going right. So the past is the past. That's the P of the PAT method. I decided to leave the past in the past and move forward and start with what is good right now, because we can't experience happiness. We can think that we did, well, oh, that was fun. We did something in the past, but we can't enjoy happiness in the past and we can't enjoy it in the future. We can only enjoy it right now. And so that's what I started doing. I started realizing that right now, this is my life right now. I can't control the past. I can't change the past and I can't control the future, but I can control right now. So I started controlling right now. I started doing the things I wanted to do.
What else did you do? You ran. What were your other, did you have this list prior to your divorce? Like, as you were getting divorced, you're like, I want to run a marathon. What else?
No, I've always wanted to run an ultra marathon, and I just thought that I couldn't do it. I thought that I was not good at anything. I grew up pretty poor, no self-confidence, thought that I couldn't do anything well. I made the soccer team in high school. I love soccer. I thought that they just let me be on the team because everybody made the team, and so I never really appreciated what my talents were because I never looked for my talents. So you can't develop anything if you don't let yourself realize what is good in you, what you have that's good.
How old were you when you got married?
I was 29 when we got married, 30 when I had.
You had some chances to experience life prior to getting married. No, it wasn't like you got married right out of high school.
No. I was a nurse. I had my career going, and that's where I started noticing this revolving door of unhappiness, and I couldn't apply it to me. I could apply it to everyone else, but I couldn't apply it to me because I didn't see what was going on with me. I didn't notice.
So what else did you do besides run? What were your things that you wanted to do that you're divorced?
I got an MBA, but I got an MBA because I thought I couldn't get an MSN because I thought I wasn't good enough. Then I realized I got my shit together and got my MSN, became a nurse practitioner. That's something that I've always wanted to do. So I started that. Before my husband and I got back together, I did not the.
Don't give it away. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
I know.
You did get back together.
We did.
Which I know everyone wants to hear about because you got divorced, you got back together. And
yes.
That's where we're going. So
yes.
just let the cat out of the bag.
I did. I'm so sorry.
No, that's okay. It's kind of funny.
I'm very new at this.
So as you're doing all these things that you're enjoying, your husband and you are still friends?
Okay, so I did the ultra marathon when my husband and I were just starting to talk again. And the reason we actually started talking was I bought a small house. It needed a lot of work, a ton of work. It needed so much work, but it was a nice big piece of property and it was great for my family, my kids, my dogs. And my husband, in addition to being a physician, happens to be extremely handy, right? Could build a house from top to bottom, right? From floor to ceiling. Yes, I feel very blessed for that. So he offered to come help. I said, hell no, don't you step foot on my property. You're not coming anywhere near me or my house. I don't need your help. I have my brother and his friends. So I was angry. I was still very, very angry.
Okay, so hold on. Let's talk about this real quick. So when you got divorced, who wanted to get divorced? You or him?
Well, my husband. I was miserable. I was very miserable. I was unhappy. I put on a happy face and we would go out. We would go to medical functions. We were the happiest couple. You know, everything appeared wonderful. That's why you can't judge.
You were miserable.
Yes, but I was miserable.
You ended up getting divorced because
yes.
You were sad and he wanted something else?
He wanted a wife. He wanted someone that would show him affection and attention and love him. And I could barely love myself. How could I love my husband? I didn't like myself. I didn't like who I had become. And I threw myself into being a good mother because that was what I could do. I knew I could do that. So I threw myself into being a good mother. And in being a good mother, I neglected my husband, my relationship, and it spiraled. I say that I was not only divorced from my husband, I was divorced from reality. I lived in this little world that it wasn't real life.
When you were going through that and he was divorcing you, were you mad that he was divorcing you, or were you like, I want this so I can go run my marathon?
No, I was angry. I did not want to get divorced. I was angry. I thought, why can't we? And it's funny because he didn't want to get divorced really either, but we couldn't figure out how to repair what had been broken. We just couldn't figure it out, and I couldn't figure it out. And I believe looking back that I was just probably too angry at myself and at the situation to really be able to figure it out. Plus, I was depressed. I had postpartum depression, and I had a whopping case of it. So
that's big.
What do you do?
Nobody gives that credit. So Thank you for sharing that. That's huge.
Yeah, no, it is huge. Postpartum depression is no joke. It is no joke. And it can it could just lead right into just regular depression, major depressive disorder. And we don't know why. I mean, we don't know why that happens. No one could say why, but it can.
But we have drugs to fix it, and you took them.
We have drugs to fix it.
Okay, so now you're fixing this house up. Your husband wants to help you, and you're like, no. What happens?
So he actually spoke to my brother, and my brother said, yeah, I really need help. I need the help. I can't do this alone. So my brother came to me. My brother and I are pretty tight. My younger brother, he's about 6 years younger, 5 or 6 years younger than me. He came to me and said, Maria, I really need the help. Paul and I have always worked well together. we used to buy property and fix them up and flip them. My father, my brother, and my husband. And he said, Paul and I work well together. I don't know anybody else that I can work as well with, and I really need his help. Could you please just one day, just see how it goes, let him over? And I fought him, but I finally acquiesced and said, okay, let's go. And that went very well. Having him in the house was okay. That morphed into, every weekend he would be there most weekends, and I would give him dinner while he was there, and I would feed him because I would feel kind of badly. He was spent his entire weekend working on my house, and how mean I was to him. I just thought, well, let me feed him. So we ate together, and then we started talking, and then we started working together because my brother wasn't able to work one day. So I filled in and helped him. I handed him tools. We put up some wood not paneling, newer, I forget what you call it. Anyway, we put up
wainscoting.
Yes, that's it. Thank you. I knew what it was. I just couldn't think of it.
Such a weird word, right?
Isn't it weird? Yeah. So
some guy named Wayne got this coating, and he just made himself famous.
There you go. And he made a lot of money with it, and I love it. I happen to love it. It's just a great product. So anyway, we were just going to town together, and we stopped. He put his tools down, and he sat there, and he looked at me, and he just said, "What are we doing? I'm wondering what's going on in your life right now. Are you seeing someone? Are you open to, can we just go to dinner?" And so I said, fine, just dinner. I just said, fine, just dinner. Of course, I was like, yeah, I want to go to dinner. Yeah, let's see what happens here.
Okay, so you were open to the idea.
Yeah, I was very open to it. Initially, I was like, no, absolutely not. I am never, ever, ever going to get back together with him. I had a friend, very good friend of both of ours, that would call me and say, Maria, when are you going on a date with Paul? I just have a feeling that you guys are getting back together. Her name is Monica.
Thank you,
Monica, you're crazy. I don't want to get back with him. We are done. We're done. No, Maria, I know it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You're going to get back with him. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Click. So she would keep calling me. And then finally, when he had asked me to go to dinner, I said, Monica called this. Monica called it. She saw us dating. So that was kind of the transition. That was the thing that made it so we could joke about it, and it made it lighthearted, and we could dive into it, because Monica said, we have to go out because Monica said. And so we would go out, and we did several more dates like that and just talked. And it was nice to go out to a restaurant because neither one of us could, if we argued about something, neither one of us could get too loud. I happen to be kind of loud when I'm arguing. I tend to be a yeller. So it worked out well. We worked a lot of stuff out. We had many dinners, spent a lot of money on dinners. He did. But
so he's a man. Okay, so how long did you do this dating thing?
About 6 months. I would say about 6 months.
What happened?
And then he was leaving his apartment, and he had to renew his lease on his apartment. And so he said, look, I'm not assuming anything, but I have to renew my lease. What should I do?
Do you see? Her husband is using my language, and it worked.
Meaning, do you want to, can I move in? So, and he didn't come out and say, can I move in? He just said, what do you think about it? What do you think if we, were to,
what did you say?
To live together again? And I said, we can try it. I think that's a really good idea. If we do end up getting back together, it makes sense. It makes perfect sense.
When he moved back in, how many years has it been since the divorce? From the day you divorced till he moved back in, how many years is that?
We were divorced for 2 years.
Okay.
And then he moved back in. Yeah.
And then what happened? Did you get married again?
Well, we're planning on it.
Okay, so you're engaged. Okay, so when did he move back in? What year was that?
Oh my gosh, I'm not good with that. I am not good with that at all.
Like last week or like 10
years
ago?
No. We've been here. So he's been living here about 2 years. Everything is like 2. we were divorced for 2 years, and then he moved, and then we got back. Well, he moved back in, and now he's been here going on about probably a little over 2 years.
Okay, this is great. Are your kids happy?
So yeah, my kids, I was very impressed with my kids when I told them about the situation, about what do you think if mom and dad, get back together. Now my kids were in
Old.
college and out, and some out of college. And my son said to me, Mom, I love you. I love dad. I love you guys whether you're divorced or I love you whether you're married. Of course it's better if you're married. I'm happy. Whatever you want to do. My daughter said, my youngest daughter said, Are you sure? Are you sure you want to do this? Because you know what he did? He didn't want you. She was the youngest one. And then my middle daughter was very mature about it. So she's like, Of course,
What'd she
Mom.
say?
You were married for 27 years, Mom. Of course you have to give it a second chance. I anyone would understand that. So
That's great. What a
yeah,
great story.
it
People
was
are gonna love this.
it was wonderful. It was wonderful. So yeah, so we're working on the house again still.
Okay, so let's go back to being stuck.
Yeah.
So do you think he was stuck back when you were stuck?
That's a
Because he
really
wanted something.
that's a really good question. He was stuck in that he didn't know how to get what he wanted from me because of my depression.
Okay, don't you love my little interruptions? Did you hear that? He didn't know how to get what he wanted from her. That's what life's about, knowing what you want and how to get that from someone else. You're not taking, you're doing a give and a take, but you have to be clear on what you want. And then you have to know what words to say, how to get what you want, and how to give someone else so they give you what you want. That's communication. That's what I teach. Let's keep going.
You could tell I was sad. I mean, I tried to hide it. I think I hid it pretty well for a long time. But he knew there was something wrong. He knew I wasn't right, and he knew I was angry. And we tried to talk, and it would end up in a fight because I didn't, I didn't even know in the beginning that I was depressed. I just knew that I wasn't happy. He didn't know how to ask me what was wrong. It came out in just fights. It would end up in a fight. We weren't good figuring this thing out. We're good at figuring a lot of things out, but this particular thing, we were not compatible figuring it out.
Now that it happened, you can look back on that, right?
Oh, yeah.
What would you tell your old self when you started to feel, you had the postpartum depression for a while, and that probably just crept in you until you started really not to feel happy?
So
But you're not feeling, one more side note, you're feeling not happy. That really wasn't your husband's fault.
No.
It was just what was happening in you, right?
Right. But I blamed everyone else. I blamed a lot of people for my unhappiness. I blamed my parents for my childhood, which was, it was okay, but it wasn't great. I blamed the people around me for not knowing that I needed help. I blamed him for working way long hours as a physician while he's providing for our family. I blamed him for not being there and helping me with 3 young children. And it just became a vicious cycle. So I blamed everyone and myself. I blamed myself for not being good enough. And I talk about that in my book, The Good Enough Principle. Good enough. It doesn't have to be perfect.
So you didn't think you were good enough. Okay, so, so if you got divorced at 27 years and your youngest
20,
is what?
21 years we were married.
21 years. So when do you think you started getting depressed? Was it like at 17 years of marriage?
Oh, no. It was after my third child. It was in 2000 when my third child was born, and they were very young. But then things would get better, and then things would get worse, and things would get better, and then things would get worse. It's kind of
so
like
the last round of worse, how many years do you think it was really bad before you finally got divorced?
Oh my gosh. Years and years. Had to be. Let's see, we got divorced when she was in high school. Oh my gosh, I'd have to say 10 years. I was bad.
Really, that long?
Yeah,
Okay.
I was bad for a long time. But
And
again,
your husband took that for 10
no, but
years.
again, it wasn't all bad. You see,
It wasn't all bad.
it's depression is this. It's very cyclical, It's
Plus,
very
you're depressed. Your husband doesn't know. He's just living his life, but he
Yeah.
sees you upset.
but he's
There's
very
not-
busy also. very busy, worked long hours on call all the time. I was busy doing kid things, and you put your happy face on for a while and you just do what you got to do and you do the grind and you get it done. And there's not time to be sad or to let people see you're sad. You go to bed, you think you cry yourself to sleep, or, whatever. He's on call and gets home at 2 a.m. and I'm already asleep. I've already cried myself to sleep, So yeah, it's not always apparent. It's very up and down.
So, I talk about something called the midlife crisis. And
Yeah.
so that's why I was curious because some of your symptoms sound like that.
Yeah, yeah.
But yet,
Well,
go ahead.
it's very much postpartum depression, but then, like I said, it's very cyclical. So after postpartum depression I took medication. I also stopped I had medication for a while. I stopped the medication. I was better. I didn't need it anymore. I stopped it. And of course, then some people can stop and be fine. Some people, the symptoms come surging back again. And so that's a vicious cycle too. You go on meds, you stop, you go on meds, you stop. Some people should just never go off meds, and I'm one of them.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
No, there's nothing wrong with that.
God
I talk
made
about
these medicines so you can take them so you'd be okay.
I talk about that in my book. I talk about that. I talk about how we have to normalize this. Everyone should go out and talk about it. My therapist says, yeah, great. Let's talk about our therapy. Let's talk about it. I love Zoloft. What do you want? I'm on Zoloft. What do you take? You take Prozac? Oh, all right. Why can't we talk about that? We talk about our blood pressure. We'd run to the doctor for our blood pressure. If something was wrong with my heart, I'd be in that friggin' office, in that cardiologist's office in a heartbeat. But when your brain, when something is wrong in your head, when you're depressed, no, we can't let anybody know that. And that's
I live in California. It's different here.
Yeah.
Everyone's talking about what medicine they're on.
And that's so good. And that is just so good. Why do we have to keep that secret? Why does it have to be hidden? I don't know.
It works and it's helping you stay normal right now because life is stressful.
Life is hard.
So how is it today?
But life is good.
Are you still stuck?
No, I'm no longer stuck. I am having the time of my life. I became a nurse practitioner. I am helping other people. I wrote a book. I am going to start training I want to better my time in my ultra marathon, although I did get third place. I do want to better my time. But so that is on the horizon. I want to learn Spanish. I want to be able to treat, people who have another barrier. It's an added barrier. So they have a barrier. People have a barrier to medical care. Either they don't have insurance or their insurance is so bad that they can't be seen. So that's a barrier. And then they have a language barrier. So I want to do that. I want to learn sign language. I want to write another book. I want to write about ADHD because that's something that adults struggle with, that people think that they just want medication. They just want drugs. They don't have ADHD.
Do you need medicine for ADHD? Is there a way to get around it?
Most people need medication for ADHD. There's behavioral techniques, therapeutic techniques you can use. Life is hard. I know because I have ADHD as well. Life is hard when you're doing the workarounds. It's very hard. It's hard. Life would have been a lot easier had I known that I had that when I was younger, when I was in school. I wouldn't have had to. Life would have been easier. So
now that you're doing all these things and you've written a book, are you maybe going to be a coach to help people get unstuck?
I thought of that, but I think that I wrote the book because I see the most I can see is about 15 patients a day, right? I can't get that message out in 15 patients a day, even if they share the message. So I wrote the book to get the message out to the masses. If I'm a coach, I can still only help a certain number of people a day. But so it's sort of the same situation.
So as a nurse practitioner, you're seeing patients who are stuck?
Yeah, I'm seeing patients who are stuck. I'm doing therapy in one job and I'm doing medication management in both jobs.
So if anyone's listening to this and their husband is stuck and they want to reach out to you to get their husband unstuck, can I get some information to leave it in the notes below?
Absolutely. Okay. So an absolutely wonderful, wonderful place is Shrewsbury Wellness Center in Shrewsbury, New Jersey on White Street.
So they have to come see you. Do you ever do virtual?
I do virtual.
Okay, good.
I do virtual.
So I'll put that information in the notes so people can go look there. And then also I will put your book down there too, so people can buy that on Amazon.
Yes, you can buy it on Amazon now. Yeah. I mean,
Very
it's
exciting.
been available on Amazon. Yeah.
So any last words? Because I think people are going to be really excited to know that you were divorced and you are getting remarried.
Yes, and we are getting remarried, and we're taking a vacation together. We've taken many vacations together since we've gotten back together, but we are doing our dude ranch vacation because I also love horseback riding. So that's another thing I want to do.
Which one? What dude ranch are you going to?
We're going to Wyoming. Which one is it called? There were so many, and we chose the last one. What is it? I can't remember the name of it. There were so many, and we chose.
I know one called Paws Up. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
Is it that?
No, it's not that one.
I like
Shoot,
that one.
Lake.
So
Anyway,
what a great positive happy ending to this.
Yeah. I do want to tell people that they can have this happy ending. They can have that. You can have this happy ending. Yes. You too can be happy. You don't have to be stuck in the past.
I teach that.
Leave the past in the past. The past is the past. Leave it in the past. It has nothing to do or very little to do with the you of the present. The second thing is the attitude, and have an attitude of acceptance and gratitude. Gratitude for not only what you are, but what you can become. And tools. There's many tools that you can use. Tools such as breathing, tools such as visualization, tools out the you know what. I have them listed in my book. Things that are so easy that you don't have to read about to learn, except in my book. You read about them, you just familiarize yourself with them, and you can do them so easy. You don't have to take a course to learn these. You don't have to take therapy to learn them. These are so easy. You don't have to study them. The only challenging part of this is remembering to do this, right? You wake up in the morning and you want to be thankful for the day that is coming, the day that you're about to embark on, how healthy you are, whatever is good in your life, whatever is good. And even if it's just your dog, even if you feel the only thing in your life that's good is your dog, then that's what you tell your brain every day. I'm thankful for my dog. And then it'll become, I'm thankful for my health. And then I'm thankful for this and that.
Yeah. And like you could even go as basic as I'm thankful that I have hands, because some people don't.
Yes. Come on. I'm thankful that I have a body that allows me to work, even though I hate my miserable job, right? And then you'll be happy, you'll be happier, you'll be stronger, you'll tap into your resilience, and you'll get a new job. You'll be thankful for the ability to find a new job, to get the new job, and then to make money and get yourself where you need to be, to get yourself out of the hole, then to get yourself unstuck, to pull yourself out.
I love it. Does your husband like this new person you've become?
Oh, yeah. He definitely, and my kids like it. They all still make fun of me because I'm Hurricane Maria. I come in and I solve problems, but I do it in a hurricane way. And that has to do with a lot of adult, ADHD. But I can't take meds for that because my heart races to the meds, just make my heart rate go crazy. But
there has to be something wrong with you. You can't just be perfectly.
No, I'm not perfect. Postpartum depression and ADHD, and hey, I embrace them. My ADHD actually helps me. It helped me write a book. It helped me write this book because I had to get this done. I have to get that done. I have to do this. I have to do that. And it gets in the way sometimes, but I embrace the positive side. Instead of seeing this side, I see that side. So how can I use this to my advantage?
That's the best part. You're helping people. So, all right, everybody, I am so glad we had Maria on here today. And if you want any of her information or a link to her book, look below, as well as if you want to talk to her or sign up to see her or see her online, you can look below in the notes as well. So, Maria, thank you. This is a fast-moving train. Life keeps going. Don't stick. Don't become stuck and get sticky.
Yep. Go get unstuck. Thank you.
See you next time.
Okay.
Bye.